Cutie is on her first ever flight in 3 years to go see Taylor Swift.
Why?
She'll never fly with Prezzo ever again, probably.
Oh, the bad omen.
No, I don't think she knows. Because she was so busy yesterday.
We can't tell her.
And like,
No, please, nobody.
and I'm itching. Because here's the thing. She's also going to Canada. Right?
Oh, dude.
I can't bring up that
You can't go where Prezzo
I know. So I'm itching to tell the story and talk about it on the car ride after we left Stream Awards. I'm like, can't talk about it.
No.
Can't talk about it.
We have to preserve all of this.
But I didn't think she'd get on. We wake up this morning. She gets up at 9. Her flight's at like 11:45, and she's like, I don't want to go. I'm tired. I'm like, okay. I don't feel like you're gonna go back to bed. So
Yeah.
like you're gonna be tired whether you go or not go.
Yeah, that's what you said. It was funny. You explained this earlier, and you're like, I was kind of a dick. I was
a little mean.
But I was like, that's a bad excuse. And I was like, I don't think you're being a dick.
But I think
it's a sensitive situation.
I was aloof. She was like, I'm tired. I was like, that's too easy. I'm on my phone. I'm like, that's too easy.
Dude, I've gotten that tone from Ludwig before.
And then Maya comes and he's like, I think he means that like it's good to have exposure to even like go to the airport, even if you don't get on the flight. And I'm like,
I'm like, that's one way of saying it.
not how I would have phrased it. And then anyway, Maya starts packing, and she's being the nice one. She's like, with this dress or this dress for tonight? He's like, that dress. And then they start packing, and then they're supposed to Uber, but I'm getting the vibe that I should drive her. I should go boyfriend mode. And so the gang gets in the car, but she's made it such that there's a very low chance they make it because we're going to the airport with like 30 minutes before the flight leaves.
Which is insane.
Which maybe if you live in like a small town, it's kind of normal. LAX, that is not normal.
It's about 15 minutes to get through security. And we're driving.
With pre-check.
Yeah. And we're driving, and she's in like, it starts out great. Like she's making jokes and she's talking about Taylor. She's singing Taylor songs.
Maya's airplaning food into her mouth, and she's like, the
times were good.
Planes are fun.
She's even vlogging.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm just like, I'm running through the checks, right? Like I'm dad mode here. And I'm like, we got our passports. And Kitty's like, yeah, of course I have my passport. And then Maya from the back seat's like, oh no. I'm like, Maya, what's up? She's like, I forgot my passport.
Rotten bitch.
It's
what? Is she not?
no.
What? Why?
You can call her.
But she forgot it.
Yeah, but that's just
She made a mistake.
She made a mistake. It makes her rotten.
Don't yeah, but doesn't make her the second part.
Hey, she made a mistake.
Well,
You
we
can't
don't
say
know
these
she is or
things
isn't
about
the
this
second part.
beautiful, apparently Asian woman.
Apparently Asian.
So Maya forgets her passport.
Yeah.
And the issue is we don't have time to turn around.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Because we don't make the flight anymore. And we can't buy a new flight because Cutie is like buying the flight's the hardest part. Because it's got to be this airline, this aircraft, whatever.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be the aircraft that went down in Mexico that Air France was flying that killed people 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is all Fear Ann's fault. They talked about it on the podcast. They went into depth about a plane crash.
That's fucked up.
And it's given her nightmares for a few months.
There's like
Dude, we
less,
should get
there's like
a
less
veteran.
and less commercial aviation accidents every year.
And
It's crazy how it only gets safer.
And they
basically.
bring up the few
contrary
that they have.
contrary to the Boeing controversy.
We should get a veteran on our show
I know
and then
somebody's
just
gonna
make
comment
loud
about that.
noises constantly.
Yeah. We
Big
have
bangs.
our firework episode.
Yeah.
The new Fear Ann bit.
Okay. So no passport.
So no passport. The good news is they're not flying to Vancouver. They're flying to Seattle and then driving to Vancouver.
Okay.
For no reason other than Cutie thought that was better.
Safer.
Because she didn't have to fly Air Canada. She could fly Delta.
She likes Delta because they're
She
safer.
likes Delta because they're safer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll let her believe whatever she goddamn wants.
Doesn't matter what the facts are. It matters what she believes.
Also, Delta is serving Shake Shack on planes now.
And
this is not fake. I did not make that up.
That's real.
Big on Shake Shack.
And you get free foams in first class.
Mm-hmm.
So Maya doesn't need her passport, and we're driving. I'm trying to figure out a solution. I call my Canadian representative, Eamon Gaiman. I'm like, Eamon, you throw someone in the trunk.
No, you're not asking Aiden to smuggle persons
I'm asking
across
if
the
you
state
can
line.
smuggle someone across the state line.
And
it's not even a state line. It's a
Aiden,
country line.
You know any coyotes?
Yeah.
I said, Oh, my border hookup from back home?
That's
My
how you
God.
got in
I
the
said,
first place.
I said he could do that. I just said, caught. Consequences are high.
Are they? They just don't let you into Canada.
No.
They can't punish you.
They arrest you for trafficking, I think.
But if you didn't get in, you didn't traffic anything.
That's not how that works.
So attempted murder is also a crime.
But
right?
attempted trafficking is like, how can the Canadians punish me? I'm not from there.
Yeah.
And I never
I'm
even
not
got,
even touching them
And I
either.
never got in there. I just attempted to get in there and then did it.
You know what? I'm wrong.
What did I do? Thank you.
The other thing is you got to do it both way. Well, and then maybe the U.S.
No,
they let
'cause
it.
I think we could get the passport with more time easier.
True.
So anyway, then I have the fucking, and as we get closer, Cutie's losing it. She starts to see the planes, like when you go to LAX, there's just a parking lot of planes.
Yeah.
And she's like, they're so
Yeah, that's.
big.
She sees like tanks in her head.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Korean airplane takes off and she's like, it goes so high. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the, that's kind of how it
It's good at
works
that shit,
there. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. And then she starts really losing it when she's getting out. And then I'm letting her go at this point. I can't follow her in. And I'm getting text updates and she's losing it. Meanwhile, I'm working with Aiden and then I had to buy Christian a flight directly to Vancouver. He has to
Right.
drive down to the border, give the passport to Maya so they can drive up through the border, and they're gonna swap.
This is to avoid flying straight to Canada.
This is to make sure they can go to Taylor Swift tonight.
Yeah.
That's because
No matter what, Maya needs a passport.
Yeah, Maya needs her passport.
But
There's an episode
in the
of
amount of time it would take Christian to fly to Canada, they could go back and rebook a flight, right? And then fly straight to Canada.
Yeah,
But flying straight to Canada is not an option
but rebooking
Yes,
the flight's
because
not
the
an
plane will
option.
crash.
Because
Yes.
the plane, of course, the plane
that
would
one's
crash.
gonna crash.
rebooking would be what most people would do.
Rebooking would cause the crash, I would argue.
And that's what she kept doing. She'd be like, "Is her not having a passport a sign?" And me,
Yeah, no,
me,
I
Squeaks,
get
and Maya in the
this.
car
I
were like,
get this.
"No, nope."
Nope. It's a good thing,
Actually,
actually.
it's actually the opposite of a sign.
So me and Cute are actually pretty similar. I think I've just worked on this stuff like more. But one time, it was actually the last flight we took, when we went to Don't Park, it was me and Mike on the flight. And we sat on the tarmac for like an hour, and the lady kept going, all right, we need 20 people off this plane or it can't take off. There's another plane that will get to Seattle 2 hours later. And it was just like, and everyone's like standing around,
Yeah.
like playing Mafia with each other. Finally, 20 people leave. And then apparently that plane got canceled. And so that 20 people came back. And they're like, okay, there's another one.
What?
Did the same 20 people want to go? It was crazy. Anyway, while this is all happening, I don't fear flying, but you just hate not having control in the air. And I was like, is that the death plane or is this the death plane?
Right.
Is
It's
this the
getting-
moment?
yeah.
Right? I'll have that thought a lot with planes. And so I understand where she's coming from. So when something goes wrong and it's like, maybe I wasn't meant to be on it, like Seth MacFarlane, and I'll like Family Guy later. You know?
Dude, I think I heard an ant scream moment because I was on my plane to Jersey.
Don't mock my culture.
I was on my plane to Jersey, and our flight got delayed. And we got on the plane, and the pilot gets on the thing. He's like, "Yeah, we're really sorry, we're running behind. So we're just gonna put more fuel in the plane so that we can go faster than normal. So we'll get there as fast as we can." And then when we land, I slept in the flight. I wake up. And the flight attendant says, "All right, we're done." The flight was 3 hours and 40 minutes. And I was like, "Can you get to the
What?
East Coast in 3 hours and 40 minutes?"
They can just do that?
But he said that. And I was like, there's no way it was that short. But I was just like asleep, didn't really check the time. I was like, that's crazy. We got there so fucking fast. And I was like, can you do that on all planes? Can you just put in more fuel and just go faster?
Yeah.
Aiden.
And then our flight
Yeah.
back was so much longer.
It's a fuel efficiency thing.
And I was just
so
like-
like they fly at a certain. It's like in a car.
Flights are so much
like you
longer
go a
than that
certain
normal.
speed to like maximize fuel efficiency.
This
And
whole fucking time.
This is why when you fly private, it's so much faster.
Oh,
Also, I assume the weight of the plane.
they go faster,
but it
dude.
spends less fuel.
Yeah.
I
and
was
it's
like,
faster.
whoa.
And it's faster on the
Like-
way back.
And I was like, everything I
Because of that.
understand about how long it
Or
takes to
slower
get
on the
somewhere
way
in the
back.
world is just wrong. It's just based on what planes
well,
do.
No, it's the same. Like you base getting from point A to point B based off like the speed limit, right? So just think of it as the air speed
Yeah.
limit.
Sure. You ever watch?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Did
just
we
funny
break
to-
the speed limit?
I'm saying, yeah, basically you broke the speed limit, but the limit's not based off of.
But are we
like-
allowed to do that?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
sanctioned
There's
it.
not like air cops, and it's not like if you go a little faster, it's more dangerous.
There's a lot of space in the air.